Welcome to the Plant Trainers Podcast, where we're helping people improve their quality of life through nutrition and fitness. And now, your hosts, nutrition and wellness coaches, international speakers, Adam and Shoshana Chaim.
Hey, I'm Adam Chaim.
And I'm Shoshana Chaim, and we are Propelled by Plants.
Today we bring to you episode 404, I Am a Peaceful Goldfish with Shoshana Chaim.
In this episode of the Plant Trainers Podcast, Adam interviews me about my new book, I'm Peaceful Goldfish, that enters bookstores today, everywhere. This is super exciting as we're normally helping others share about their books. And 6 years later, my book is finally here. We're hoping to get a #1 bestseller today on Amazon or this week. So if you are looking for a gift for a 0 to 7-year-old or have an upcoming baby shower or simply a collector of amazing books, please head to Amazon today and get your copy now. We do know that some people are donating copies to local libraries or elementary schools because they believe that the idea behind the book is just so powerful.
I Am a Peaceful Goldfish teaches kids and families about playful breathing techniques that we can use to overcome our anxiety and feel calm and grounded. When we're overcome with emotions, our breath and a bit of imagination can bring us back to a peaceful place. In this simple story, 2 children learn how to settle their feelings with imaginative breathing techniques, pretending they are elephants, flowers, even dragons. This charming book teaches even the youngest readers fun ways to be mindful, relieve anxiety, and regain control over their bodies and actions, an essential and easy to learn life skill. Stay tuned to hear Dr. Dean Ornish's endorsement of the book. And again, we would love for you to support this initiative and help more children understand the importance of mindfulness and using their breath. Hope you enjoy this one. And now for a moment of gratitude.
I am so grateful for the people who have helped me along with this process of writing I Am a Peaceful Goldfish. Jackie from Westwood Creative Arts, Callie, Megan, and Mackenzie from Greystone Books, Lori Joyce Smith, my illustrator, Sammy Kay, Aaron, and Amy, amazing friends who helped me through the process, and of course, Adam, Sage, and Russell for helping me and always being there for me.
I am just grateful for this day, the book launch day, and it's just super exciting to finally have this amazing book that you've been working on for so long out there and going to make a huge impact. All right, so here we are. It's a very exciting day. Today is the day that you've been waiting for such a long time. It's April 13th, and if you're listening to this after, it's still going to be very relevant. But today, your book has finally been released.
It is being released. Just coincidence that it releases on a Tuesday, the day that we drop the podcast. But it is super exciting for me. This has been 6 years in the making.
More than 6 years. It's probably been your whole life since you had a little goldfish, no?
I did. I had a little goldfish. His name was Charlie.
His name was Charlie. And he didn't last long, but from what I remember is you wanted a goldfish that would last forever. And now you put together this book and the goldfish will be around forever.
There is this little story behind that I didn't even remember, but my mother sent me a picture a week ago, 2 weeks ago, of some little letter that I wrote and colored when I was a kid. I must have been pretty young because the spelling was atrocious. Not that it's too much better today, but it said something like, why can't I have a goldfish that lives long? And I'll never be happy until I have a goldfish that lives long. And Adam turned to me and goes, well, now your book's going to live forever. So you'll have a goldfish that will live forever. So a little insight into our family window.
Pretty cool. So the book's called I'm a Peaceful Goldfish. And I want to really get into why you wrote this book. But before we do, just tell everybody a little bit about it, I think.
Well, it is a picture book. And for those of you on YouTube, you can see it here. It is a picture book, and it's a picture book on mindfulness. And I really wanted children to learn how to take those deep breaths because that's something that we learn as adults to do, but we don't necessarily teach kids to do. And I wanted them to learn these breathing techniques for them and their family for when they're feeling overwhelmed. So it's fun, it's imagination, it's inspiration from objects that are found around their house. They're just going through actually a series of activities that help them feel good and help them feel grounded. And I wanted families and children to learn that as early on as possible.
Well, I think it's interesting because you said that we understand how to use mindfulness. We use our breathing, and that's not even necessarily true for adults. And to be able to bring it back to the young kids and start it at such a young age, I think is such an important thing. And that's what I really like about this book. I think that gives us the opportunity to start habits at such a young age that many of us still haven't adopted at the ages that we're at right now.
So I think you're absolutely right. And one of my secret initiatives with this book is not only to teach the children how to take those deep breaths, but have the parents practice it with them. And when I tell people what the book is about, they go, oh, well, kids don't just need that, adults need it too. So when parents are reading the book and practicing those breathing techniques with the kids, they're actually getting the practice too, so that it becomes more second nature for them as well.
So tell us exactly, like, why did you write this book? Was it because you wanted to be an author? Was it because you had this? Just tell us, why did you write this book?
Well, back in university, I took a children's lit class when I was in, I guess you could call it teacher's college, getting my Bachelor of Education. And we had to write the first page to a book. And it was difficult. It was really hard. We had to illustrate it and we had to hand it in. And I guess in the back of my head, I always had this bucket list of writing a kid's picture book. But I kind of put that aside because I was just so busy over my school years reading books to kids. And one day, Russell, our son, was in a bit of a mood and I was in a bit of a mood too. And he was taking these shallow breaths and I'm like, bud, just breathe. We've got to, and he wasn't having anything of it. You know, when it's your own kid, they don't want to listen to the parents, or you need to get something that catches the attention of a 4-year-old or 5-year-old, not, or maybe if it was a little bit older, but you know, sometimes it's not just telling them what to do. And being a teacher, what I knew is read them a book. You're going on a field trip, read them a book. You're going to Disney World, read a book about Disney World, whatever it is that you have going on. And there was no book that would be able to teach him to take these deep breaths in and out. So I went downstairs and I just kind of wrote it myself. And that's really how the book got started. I wanted to have a tool for my own kids to have. And, you know, I was transitioning out of teaching into more of the health coaching and teaching kids yoga. And I wanted to have a tool to help kids so that they can be as successful as possible as uncertain issues came up with them throughout their lives.
So is this book really only for kids? I mean, it's a picture book, and I know you mentioned it's also going to help the adults, but who's the book actually for?
Well, the book, you know, at the end of the day is for children ages 0 to 7 are going to get the most out of it. I know that I've put it out there and people are texting me saying they're ordering it for their teenagers. Their teenagers saw it and their teenagers want it as well, but it's really for everybody. And what I really wanted to make sure I did with this book is create an opportunity for every kid to see themselves in it some way or another, because growing up and just being a white woman and teaching children who were white, every book I opened, it seemed that they were able to see themselves in it. But then you have so many different demographics, there's so many different colors throughout the whole world. I wanted this book to be really, really worldly. So when we were creating the characters, you know, we have 2 main characters. And if you're on YouTube, you can see. If not, check it out on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or wherever you need to. But just go look at the cover. We have 2 kids, so they're 2 different colors, and we couldn't get every demographic in. So what we did is on the inside jacket, we have different children with different colors from different countries with different head coverings throughout the inside jacket. And in the closing one, we have them in happier moods. So they're in bad moods at the beginning and happier moods at the end, because when we learn these tools, we're able to work through and feel happier, get more serotonin working throughout the body.
So can you maybe take us through the process of one of these breathing exercises, and maybe our audience that's listening could actually take a moment to join you in the process?
Sure. So if you're driving or riding a bike, maybe just listen, don't get too involved and come back to it later. But I'd like you to now just sit up tall, put your feet flat on the ground so that, or keep them crossed or wherever you're comfortable, and just take a deep breath in. Hold it there and let it out. Good. If you want to close your eyes, you can. Take a deep breath in and out. And I want you to imagine that you are a dragon. What color are you? Do you have any funny patterns on you? You could be any color you want. You could have polka dots. You could have stripes. Each scale can be a different color. Maybe your wings are a different color. Do you have wings or not? How long is your tail? Just picture yourself there in any which way that you want. And now we're going to take a deep breath in and slowly breathe out to make your brilliant fire. Now that was a little bit rough for a lot of you. So let's take another deep breath in again. Slow it down. And now let's breathe out to make your brilliant fire. Good. Let's slow it down even more. Take a deep breath in. And now breathe out to make your brilliant fire. And maybe feel a little calmer now. Maybe you feel like you can approach the rest of the day in a more beautiful way. But basically what we do on each page of this book is you have a dragon or a goldfish or a pinwheel or a bell being blown by the wind in the tree. And the children could pretend to be these different objects. And when you go to the grocery store with your child and they're having a tantrum because you don't want to buy them something, or because they want to go home, or because they got scared, or whatever it is, whatever their favorite character is, or whatever their favorite book is in the pages in the book, then you could say, let's take a deep breath like the dragon, or let's take a deep breath like the goldfish. And they have a cue, because children learn better when they have experience and they can relate their own experience to something else that they really do enjoy.
So was this book designed to be, let's sit down and read this entire book at once? Or is it like, I use it for certain times of the day kind of thing?
No, it's definitely a storybook. It's a book that you want to be reading your child every night before bed, or you want them to pick up and bring to you. It's a book that you want to read and practice and enjoy just as a regular storybook. But then when those more difficult situations come up, you want to be able to relate back to that experience. So after you've read the book 2, 3, 4 times, you might say, hey, when can we use this? Or, when you go to the park and mommy says it's time to leave and you start to scream and cry, this is a good time that we can pretend to be the dragon and we can breathe our whole way home. So it's definitely good to get that experience practicing it when they're in great moods, but then find ways to utilize it to make your life easier. And if you can put it into your children's school, into their classroom, into their library, and have the teachers do the same, that school-home connection makes it even better for the children, because it's status quo across the board. They're using the same skills and the same tools.
I was going to say that this is probably a book that a lot of teachers are going to want, especially younger, like kids teachers, like you are a kindergarten teacher. So I would think that this is a book that there would be a lot of benefit to having if you're a teacher listening and you'd like to get it into your school. I think that would be very helpful, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. So ordering this for your classroom and asking the other teachers in nursery, kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2 would be perfect. Reading it to the class a couple of times. And then a lot of teachers have kind of like cool down areas where you either have kids play with tactile toys or a relaxation corner, or maybe there's music meditation. So having that in that corner for when kids want to or need to use those tools, it's there and available for them, and they've already learned how to use it.
And then they get to use it at home too, because their parents can get a copy and, like you said, cross home and school.
Exactly. It wasn't necessarily meant to be an education piece. It's a picture book. You walk into the bookstore, you can find it there, but then there's ways for the home and ways for the schools to use it and use it in conjunction as well. And I know a lot of people who want to support me and are buying books, but don't necessarily have young kids. They're donating it to school libraries or giving it to nieces and nephews and stuff like that so that they can start to make more awareness.
So we've been going through a lot of challenging times in this world, and families can use this book as a tool to create a calmer environment for their kids. But what else could they do to help navigate all these difficulties that they may be having?
Sure. So there's definitely different things that you can do depending on how old the family members are. So for example, with our daughter now, who's in grade 5, I've actually found journaling to be really good for her. So once they're able to write, once they're able to think on a little bit of a more higher critical level, writing down the events throughout the day that have happened that have maybe felt a little bit more challenging, that gives the child an opportunity to bring that up. You see what it is. Maybe you have a conversation about it. But then the key part is to find good things that have happened throughout the day or things that you're grateful for and match it. So if she's written down, 3 things, her brother got mad at her, she had too much homework, and she didn't like dinner. So good. So those are, well, not good, but those are 3 things. And then, maybe we talk about 1 or 2 of those things. But then what we do is we find 3 great things that have happened throughout the day. So maybe she got a package in the mail from my sister, so she has a new sweatshirt. And then she goes, well, nothing else good has happened today. And I'm like, well, did you enjoy your breakfast? Or did you play football with your brother? Or did you get some computer time? And she's like, oh, but those are things that happen every day. I'm like, but do you like them? Are you happy for them? And when the answer is yes, then she could put them down. So it's creating this opportunity for us to see good, even when negative is happening. Also, having a family meal and talking about your highlights and lowlights of the day or things that you're grateful for can be really helpful too. And making sure that you're exercising on a regular basis so that the good, happy hormones are going throughout the body.
I think it's funny that you mentioned those 3 different activities that are good for your grade 5 daughter, but those things things are also things that adults could be doing. And it's not just for kids. I mean, journaling and reflecting and gratitude. And that's why we talk about gratitude every show and share that with our guests and our audience. And these are all tools that we add to our tool belt to help navigate these challenges all the time.
Yeah. And there's definitely lots more that you can do. One other good one that I used to do, I should have done it last night, but one other good one that I used to do with our son to kind of help him bring down that, level of over emotion at night is both of us would lie down on the bed and we would create a ball. And he would tell me, just like we did with the dragon, what does the ball look like? What color is it? Is there a texture on it? Is there a pattern on it? And it would be this imaginary ball. And it would start off in front of somebody's mouth and nose. And we would be lying down. So you'd take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, you would imagine the ball, you'd be pushing it up and over. And as gravity brings it back down, it would push it over in front of the other person's face. So then he would take a deep breath in to suck it in, and then he'd breathe out, and then it would send it back to me. And you have that visualization to kind of create that breath. You're taking turns, taking those big breaths. You're doing it together. And again, that's something that you can do as an adult by yourself or an older child by themselves, just visualizing the ball going up and down and up and down.
That's a pretty cool activity.
Thank you.
Nice. Lots of great ideas. Very good. So it's very exciting. This book is out and available everywhere, and you'll tell everybody where it's available shortly. One of the endorsements that you received recently was from someone who's become a friend, Dr. Dean Ornish. So yes. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and what he said?
Thank you. Yeah, that's super exciting. I gave him a little email and I'm like, hey, I know, he's known for, meditation and yoga and lifestyle medicine and all of these things together. So I'm like, I really think you're going to like this book. If you don't have time to answer me, don't worry about it. I'll never take offense to it, but would you mind letting me know what you think? And this is what he wrote. Breath is a link between our mind and body. It both reflects and affects how we feel. When we're anxious and stressed, we breathe fast and shallow. When we're relaxed and calm, we breathe slow and deep. In this beautiful book, children are shown how to breathe deeply and slowly in a language they understand. Highly recommended. Dr. Dean Ornish.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Thank you. Exciting, super right? Exciting.
So exciting times for you, for us. This book, I Am a Peaceful Goldfish, is available as of today. Why don't you tell everybody how they can get it?
6 years. I want to just tell this story if you don't mind. I feel it's funny because it's our show, but you're like interviewing me today.
Right.
But, it did take 6 years, and that's because of the process that I needed to go through. So like I said before, I went downstairs, I wrote that book, and then I was going to just publish it. And I was like, I'll figure out how to publish it. So I actually hired an artist. It took a while to find an artist. She illustrated it. And then I said, okay, now what? And I'm like, I guess I got to self-publish. I'm like, but I really wanted a real publishing house to publish it for me. So I said, you know what, let me go through the process. So by the time I figured out what I actually had to do, it had already been a year. And then I needed to find an agent. So it took me a year to find an agent. And it was April. I remember it was April because it was a year from when I had written it, just about. And I said, if I don't have an agent by next April, we'll figure out how to self-publish it. And we'll not figure out, we already knew how, but we'll self-publish it. And then boom, in April, just like that, the agent popped up. And then I said to the agent, how long is this going to take? And she said, well, it could take this amount of time, that amount of time. So it took me another year. And I said, I'm going to take this year. And if we don't find a publisher, we'll self-publish. And boom, we found a publisher. And then it took another 2 years just to get the book like out on paper. And it may have actually taken 2 years of research and figure out how to even get an agent. It was super, super hard. So whatever the math is, it took almost 6 years for this to get out. And it's just been super exciting. And it is available if you are someone who's going to buy it or who would love to share it on our behalf and support us that way. Please do so today and encourage people to buy it on Amazon today. We're trying to get to a number one seller. So by buying Amazon, that would be amazing and perfect. But it is available everywhere books are sold online. So Barnes and Noble and Walmart and Amazon and Indigo and Chapters all across North America or UK. It's available online. And if you walk into a bookstore, you should be able to see it. And if you don't see it, ask for it because they might have it in the back. It might not just be out yet.
Or they could order it.
Yeah, or you can order it. So it would be amazing if you could help support us in one of two ways, either by purchasing today on Amazon or sharing it with someone who you know this would be great for. Either way, we are so grateful that you're here listening, so grateful that you're helping us. And I'm just super excited for this to get into as many hands as possible because I know it will make a difference in children's life and parents' life moving forward.
I think you should share who the publisher is.
Sure. So
after all that.
Yes. So I'm so grateful to Greystone Publishing for helping me with this book. It's written by me, Shoshana Chaim, and it's illustrated by Lori Joyce Smith. She has such a cute cartoon way, simple way, but really, I don't know, you really get drawn to the photos. There's this beautiful little cat that's not part of the storyline at all, but he wants so badly to be like the children. And he goes through and he's acting and doing all these things throughout the book too. So it's super exciting. It's super cute. So yes, big props to Greystone Publishing. Thank you so much to Jackie Kaiser as well, my agent, and to Lori Joyce Smith for making such a beautiful picture and really making this book come to life. I feel like I'm doing my Emmy speech, but I'm so grateful to Adam and the kids for supporting me through this. And I've had some other friends, Amy and Aaron and Samantha, who have really been support for me and a springboard for me and in making some integral decisions throughout this process.
Well, I'm really proud of you for putting this together and getting it out, and it's very exciting. And if you're listening and you're watching on YouTube or you're listening in our audience and you've picked up a book and purchased one, thank you so much. What we'd love for you to do is tag us on Instagram at Plant Trainers so we could restory your picture of you with your kids or you by yourself holding the book in your hands so we could get more people excited about this just as much as we are. So thank you so much for writing the book. Thank you so much for being here listening today. And if you want to get a book, you can click the links in our show notes at planttrainers.com/404. And that book is called I Am a Peaceful Goldfish.
Thank you. I'm so used to helping other people promote their book, but this has been super fun. Thanks. Thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Plant Trainers podcast. We want to make sure that you subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platform.
We really appreciate the feedback we receive from you every time we get a 5-star rating or review on iTunes from one of our fans. It really helps other people find us just like you did.
Thanks so much to our patrons. To become a patron, visit us at patreon.com/planttrainers. Even supporting us with $1 really makes a difference in the quality of the show.
And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle is at Plant Trainers. Like Plant Trainers on Facebook, join our newsletter, and check out our website at planttrainers.com for awesome recipes, a list of our services, and of course, our latest podcast.
We encourage you to email your questions to info@planttrainers.com so that we can help you improve your quality of life through nutrition and fitness.
So we hope we've inspired you today. Join us again next time and have a healthy day. Or is that too corny?
It's a little cheesy.